everyone. Today we got to play the Great Split. Now, this is a Gen Con find, so we're super excited to share it with you. It was kind of a diamond in a rough. But before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell because board games are amazing. And that's what we do here at Legends of Nirvana. Now, Robert, can you tell us a little bit more about the Great Split?
So this is a 2022 release. Overall rank on Board Game Geek is 2,856, rated at a 7.2. It plays 2 to 7 people, which is something we really like, ages 8 and up. And it's got about a 45-minute playtime. It definitely took us a little bit longer than that. Now, I apologize if and I know I'm totally butchering the name, and I'm sorry to the designer. But designed by Halomar Hatch and Lorenzo Silva, art by Weberson Santiago. Now, it's published by Horrible Guild, but that's part of the Flat River Group. MSRP is $44.99, but I did see it cheaper. This is how I bought it. Was off of Amazon for $39.71. Now, I did see it, but Geek Market's got a used copy for $25. So if you're interested in it after this review, jump on that. And eBay's got it for $47.66.
All right, so let's talk about the quality of components. Now, there are some generic wooden cubes, but these inlaid boards
are awesome.
Awesome. There's a little bit of lift, but not much. They're actually really done very, very well. Plus, the actual round tracker is also an inlaid, partially inlaid board. And, you know, overall, the finish on the cards doesn't have a linen finish, but
it's good thickness.
But it is good thickness.
The character tiles are good, thick cardboard.
Yes, and then these little contraptions that you use to hide the cards from, I think they're pretty cool.
I think you could call it an envelope.
My only complaint when it was on the scoring track marker or whatever, not scoring, but the
round tracker
card, it didn't have inlays for the tiles that you flip over or the ones for scoring, which I didn't understand. If you got all the other inlays on there, because the round marker itself has an inlay, and the art value has an inlay. So
I know I can kind of see it because it might be kind of tough to flip them over if there's an inlay.
Well, yeah, but the cards actually have an inlay, and that is more problematic because of it. Because matter of fact, we put it away. One of the cards was still stuck in there because they're hard to get to if you don't have fingernails. So I didn't understand the choice of not inlaying those tiles, but that's minor.
Minor.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm probably going to give this a 7.5 to 8 because. Yeah, you do have some generic cubes, but the inlaid boards are done super, super nicely, and I think you've got good quality on the cardboard and on the cards and everything else like that.
I'm an 8 because I think it's easy to read. At least the color of the cubes match the iconography and everything exactly, so you don't have that off color sometimes. We see a lot of times, so I like that. But the thickness of the cards is really nice, and yes, the inlay, the boards. Both boards, super nice.
Yeah,
I'm an 8.
I'm an 8 for the fact that there's not that many components in the game, and what is there, most of it is done pretty nicely. Even the cubes are not bad. I mean, they're I don't know what you would use other than cubes. I mean, you can make a little miniature figures, but they're so small.
Yeah.
My only grievance really, and I don't know if this would really necessarily fall under quality versus theme, is the numbering being so tiny on the scoreboard when you have to look and see what, for scoring purposes, what the number is on one of the tracks. It's just really small.
Yeah, I think that's more gameplay, but I do agree as a pain.
But that's really the only thing. I mean, the numbering on the actual scoring is fine. So I don't know. It's particular. I mean, some of them have icons, so yeah, you can't really make it too big. But I think it could have been a little bit bigger.
Well, I mean, I think I actually put that up with theme, which is about where we're headed. So theme overall. There isn't a lot of artwork. You have some iconography, and then you do have some of those touches that definitely give you that great gaspy feel.
Yeah, the character tiles, they look really neat. So
yeah, I do totally like the art. It's a kind of an Art Nouveau style with the tiles, the art characters, I think is nice. The gold trim on everything just shines. It looks really pretty. And the iconography is easy to interpret on this. Very easy.
Yeah. But I don't think the theme is super strong in how it relates to the gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Yeah, it could be anything.
But it is very eye-catching, and I think they did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of functionality, but they should have the all-around great functionality if they're going to go less on theme, and those numbers are really, really small.
Yeah.
So that is kind of, if you're going to go for a lot of functionality, then you should go for a lot of functionality. So, but overall, I think they did a great job. I still think it's eye-catching. I think the theme is throughout all the pieces. I'm probably going to give this a 6.5 on theme, just because it's kind of light, but it's there and it's nice.
Yeah.
I'm going higher because, I mean, first of all, we know it's eye-catching. We had Dominic walk past as we were playing it, and it caught his eye and just stopped.
Totally checking it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's and first of all, just having shiny, I mean, that's going to lure a lot of people in. I mean, lure me in. But, just, I think the overall look and feel of this is, the look is cohesive. It just doesn't matter. I mean, you're going up tracks. So any track-based game, it's hard to basically incorporate that into gameplay because it's just tracks.
Yeah.
But, as far as the art style, I think it's dead on for what it should be. And I think the color choices are beautiful, even if you can't tell, because some of the colors are dark when you get into the actual player colors. But it doesn't matter because they have patterns on them. Even,
Not only
so
that,
you can
but
easily distinguish.
Yeah, but if you're colorblind, it might be more difficult. But all the colors are distinctly different. So you don't have a dark brown and a little bit lighter brown. That could be very confusing in a lot of games.
Well, you do on the player colors, but like I said, you all have the icons.
Oh yeah, as far as your envelopes, but I'm saying on the board itself. I mean, they're distinctly different. Yeah. And I can't say how many games we've talked about where this yellow and that gold, they match each other too closely.
So I'm probably more of an 8 on it, I think. Okay. I mean, just because I think it lured in people. We know it did. And it's what caused me to buy it. I mean, this was
but I don't think the theme actually impacts gameplay at all.
Oh, I don't either. But
that's why I'm a 7. I'm a 7 because although I like the artwork a lot and I think the color choices are great, the mechanics doesn't fit the theme doesn't fit the mechanics. I mean, it could be anything. And so therefore, that can't be a big part of it. And there's really no story behind it. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like I could be in the 40s because of the artwork, but that's it. There's the gameplay that made me feel like
it'd be more like the 20s. 40s.
That too.
Yeah, you probably don't want to be in the 40s at that time.
Yeah, just before the Great War.
Yeah, that would be the Depression. I don't think you're going to see people all ritzy.
What's the 1%? So.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But yeah, so let's then move on to the actual rulebook. Randy, what did you think?
The rulebook is really short. It's 12 pages long. The font is a little small. It's not tiny, but it is a little small. I know when I was tired the first night reading it, I struggled a bit because of the size. The contents are clear. There is no cover on it. It goes straight into the contents. The setup is very easy. Lots of big, and throughout the book, lots of big pictures showing everything on where things go and how the play works, which I always like to see. Turn order, they show how all the turns work. It's a really simple game, but they go into very heavy detail to show you how everything works and how you pass the cards around, which, once you get into any kind of card drafting, or in this case, you choose, or I choose, I split, you choose. I get that wrong every time. I split, you choose mechanic. You're going to have, it's going to be a straightforward thing. But then it combines that with the tracks in here very easily to understand in the rules. And the scoring is probably the toughest part just because it happens kind of not where you would expect it to happen. Mm-hmm. But it's clear once you read the rules how it's supposed to trigger. I think they've done a good job in translating the rules into this. The scoring is probably a little more confusing than it should need to be as far as the interpretation in here, but I don't think it's that bad. I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8. I think it does an outstanding job of keeping it quick to learn. And then they have on the back the 2-player rules, which I honestly can't see playing this 2-player. I think
I would totally try it though because I liked it so much. It'd be interesting how different it is.
Well, I think the style of the play with the split and choose doesn't lend itself. We've played some other games that are 2-player that way, and just it didn't work out well as far as the style. We didn't try it 2-player. We tried it 5-player, I think, one time, and we tried it 4. We tried 5.
5 was our second time, and then I think it was 6.
Oh,
first
6,
time, right? Yeah.
So yeah, I think the bigger the crowd, the better. But
Board Game Geek does say the sweet spot is 4 to 6.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think I don't know why 7 wouldn't be just as sweet. So that but yeah, I think an 8's a good score for the rules.
All right, so now let's move on to the actual gameplay. So everyone here has their count of four cards. So everyone's going to pick up one more card because at the beginning of the round you always do.
Well, you also have a divider card, which is
but that doesn't
count towards your hand size.
It doesn't count towards your player hand size. All right, so everyone's going to take one. Now, once you take your one, you're going to drop down to the hand limit. Now you'll go over here on your board, and for the first round, it is 5. So we have 5 cards in front of us. Now what we're going to do is then we're going to take our split card. We're going to divide the cards up and however we think that will give us some benefit.
And your starting character does give you some starting stats, which is over here on the side.
Yeah,
so you always got to make sure you start there because it kind of does help point you in a direction on what to start doing. So like mine gives me 3 blue. So
yeah, that's mine gives me 1 brown, 1 purple, and then 1 increase on the ribbons for brown and purple, which we'll get to that when scoring comes along, how that's important.
Okay. All right, so then we're going to pass it to our left. So I'm going to put my cards in my little envelope.
So you split the cards.
Pass them in your envelope.
Supposed to pass simultaneously, but
pass to the left.
Okay. Then you're going to take, and then you're going to choose in between the 2 sides. Do not try to rearrange the cards. That's
that happened one time. Somebody tried to arrange them to make them pretty in their hand, and they're like, you didn't put any cards on the side. And I think, no, you moved them around. So you got to keep them in the order that you get them.
So I'm deciding which ones to keep.
Yep, I've kept my side, and I'm handing it back to the player that gave me this. All right.
And so
then you're going to take out your set. Now you're going to actually trigger the 6 cards. So your player divider is actually considered a upgrade to any one item. Anything. All right. So then I'm going to look at my cards.
And if you don't like your cards, you can always discard the card and either go up 1 on the gold track or 1 victory point.
So for example, I have a 2 blue, so I'm going to go up 2 on the blue track. I have 1 purple, so I'm going to go up on 1 of the purple track. I've got 1 brown. I'm going to go up there. I've got 1 green. And I've got 1 brown or purple ribbon. I'm going to go up the brown ribbon because I don't know why.
Now what's nice on the ribbons is some of them will have icons that let you move up the corresponding track above. So in addition to that, they serve as multipliers for in-game scoring on the ribbons. But it also will help you advance up some of those tracks.
Yeah. And one of the more interesting tracks is the gold track because it's got this little icon of double arrows. What's cool about that is you select any other track other than the gold and you can increase it twice.
Yeah. All right. So now we're
at my wild still.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do that to move.
Okay. So now we are at the next round. So again, we're going to take another card.
Well, nope, not yet. We got to do the
we got to move over. So then we show that there is a 1. We're going to move up this...
It's the art value marker, basically. And what it does is acts during scoring for the art to tell you where the draw line is for how many of those icons you have, whether you get 0, 6, 10, or 13 or 15 points, potentially.
Depending on how much art you own.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to pick that second card, and we're going to drop down back to 5, so we will end up being discarding something, generally speaking. All right, then we're going to do
it again.
Then we keep doing it. All right, so we'll keep playing this until all of the round, until we hit to this gold marker, in which case we'll be triggering a scoring round. So the scoring that really might be a little difficult is this brown marker. So if you can see here, the inflation will continue to go up, and you will eventually end up with something like this. So as this marker triggers, and then the scoring marker triggers, it says if you have 7 of the art track, you will get 10 victory points. If you have 8 through 10, you'll have 13. If you have 6 through 4, you'll only get 6. If you have less than 3, you'll get 0. But if you have more than 11, you get 15 victory points. So that's the only one that kind of isn't straight, just count what your board has. So purple has banners that it tells you how many victory points it's worth, as well as the multiplier at the end of the game. Now, the green and blue, it's whatever is the least. So that
the
one,
two.
Of the two. So that's a little tricky. So you kind of want to build them up together because whatever the lowest one is the one that will trigger the score.
But times two.
But times two.
Right.
So basically you get the count because they have to be equal to make it count.
Yeah, and that hurt a lot of people because they maxed out one color but completely forgot about the other one, and they didn't score anything.
Well, for that scoring, but the ribbons at the end, however, will count each individual one color. So
yeah, they score really well on that. You can score
really well on those points there.
Yeah. Right. So that is essentially the game. Now, the one thing is this is really quick to get out, right? It doesn't take very long to teach. There's a little bit of strategic and, okay, where am I going to divide? What am I going to offer? Because what I don't want to is offer, one side have nothing and one side have everything, because guess what? You're going to end up with nothing.
And then a lot of people playing off each other's boards. Because I'm looking at Miranda, it's like, all right, what is she going to hand me? Or I look at Randy, which ones do I pass to him, potentially. So you got to play off each other if you want to plan on doing well.
Yeah. And so, I got 99 victory points. That was it. I probably was last.
So I got to play twice, and I won our first game and came in second on the second game. So
and I think I've come in a mediocre third in the second game. I can't remember where I was in the first. But I wasn't last, but I know I wasn't anywhere near the top.
Yeah. So, but overall, I enjoyed the game for a quick. It's a nice little quick little game. I had a lot of fun with it.
And we're getting ready to play it again.
Yeah, we're about to teach my mom. This is something I think that is for the lighter crowd that enjoy it. But it adds a little bit of structure, a little more meat to it for some of those, if you have some moderate gamers or things like that, but you have a few, more of the light players. I think this works out perfectly.
Like a happy middle.
It's a good happy middle that offers a lot to both groups. And I find it interesting. And there can be a little bit of, take that, because handing Randy crap, he's like, which one do I choose? That means I did a good job.
Or he's like, thanks for the cards, so.
Yeah. All right. So let's give some scores, guys. I'm at a 7.5. I think it's fine. I think it's great.
Yeah, I think a 7.5 is a good, it's a solid game. So
it's a solid
7.5.
I'm sticking with my 8s. I've been 8s all along. I think this is, I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I like games that are quick to learn, and this one is going to be played a lot. I think
so too.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I love and anything with tracks automatically gets my attention. And I love the fact that you've got multiple ways to score in this.
Wait a minute. I thought it's because it had a board.
Well, it's shiny.
You were already, there's that.
Yeah, it's inlaid and shiny.
Yeah.
But beyond the obvious, Secret of NIMS style attraction to precious, my precious shininess. This one, I like the depth of the scoring and the fact that not only do you score the tracks, but instead we talked about the multipliers that you get at the end for each individual track that you have to build up along the way too. But you're sacrificing building up the actual track by building up the ribbons to some extent. So it's all a balancing act. And I know, people were having trouble. It's like, oh man, I got to get a lot of points up here. And then they realize they never built the ribbons up. So then you end up with no multiplier, So you got to keep everything consistently building.
Yeah.
And some people were better at it than others, obviously, because Rob's been pretty towards the top every time. So
good job, Rob. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We had an absolute blast, and hopefully you'll come hang out with us again. We'll catch you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.